respect nationally. They're really, they've had 3 different teams all year, to be honest with you guys. This is really at least the 2nd different team. They start off 4-3. Since then, they've only lost 4 games when Reed is playing. You had a guy like Monsanto later in the year. We know him well. Monsanto, he's a dangerous player. So for them, even with that, if you look statistically, analytically, all that stuff, they're really like a top 25 team. And so for us, one, I don't know how you don't think that's a tournament team. That's the first thing. But the second thing is they're really good. And so they kept answering us. I mean, for us to have the lead the whole game, or it was tied too, but for us not to give them the lead for 40 minutes, I think that's a big time thing. I thought Mark and Flip were men. I thought they were really tough tonight. And these guys, anybody who doubts their toughness, what they're about, they don't know Mark Mitchell, they don't know Kyle Filipowski. Those guys were just men tonight. And I could go down the list. Jared, it's 4 out of 5 games he's had double-digit rebounds. And he's a warrior. We were kind of banged up. Tyrese was a little banged up, but he was battling through. I thought Jeremy stepped up to hit some big-time shots. So anyway, I'll let you guys ask me questions, but I just want to say that from the get-go.
Jon, you mentioned a couple of times you've been. Oh, pass it.
Okay.
Just pass it over. Yeah. Sorry, guys. There you go.
Sorry. Hey, Jon.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah. you mentioned with Kyle, you've been trying to get him back to this level the past
Yeah.
couple of weeks. What has allowed him to be able to come back and have that sort of performance, and what does it sort of say, again, continuing about his character to be able to come back like that?
Kyle, man, is he's a different guy. Kyle's very thoughtful, and he takes the pressure of the responsibility that he has for our team, and when he's not playing as well, he takes that on his shoulders. And basketball is not it's not a sport that you're supposed to be perfect in. And so for him, it's just embracing that. And he's doubled down on the work that he's put in. If you saw him earlier today, he got a great workout with Coach Carwell on the court to really just simulate what he's going to do in the game. And I thought the main thing he did, he just had a different burst to him tonight. He just, I'm proud of him for that, because it's not supposed to be smooth sailing all the time. Even when you come back as a sophomore, you think it's supposed to be better. Well, it's only better if you make it better. And he's made it better, especially tonight.
You really compressed your rotation in the second half. I assume Proctor's head injury had something to do with that. But still, you asked him to keep players to play a lot of minutes in the second half. Is there about how that happened and how they responded?
Well, it's hard to take Mark Mitchell or Kyle Filipowski off the court when they're playing that way, and like we've always done it here, and we always will if a guy has it going. And as long as they're playing defense and battling every play, which they were, it's hard to make a sub at that time. And guys still have to be ready. Things can change quickly. I don't think it's going to go that way all the time, but tonight we found a great groove there in the second half, and it's hard to sub Mark, Flip, any of those guys when they have it going. And thought they just did a great job playing for 40 minutes.
Do you have any read on Proctor's head injury?
Not yet. I need to go see him after this.
Is Jared doing anything differently to account for the rebounding? And did you have a conversation with him that he needs to be more aggressive, or is he taking it upon himself, or what's the cause of it?
The cause of it is I think he's a guy that will do whatever it takes to win at any cost. And look, we have a smaller perimeter this year than we normally do. We play basically 3 point guards at the same time, and so we've emphasized a lot gang rebounding. We need guard rebounding, and Jared has just done such a good job. He's guarded. We've done some unorthodox things. He's even guarded 4s and 5s at times, the way we've matched up, because he's just so tough. He battles, and then seeing what he does, we let him go to offensive boards. He just comes up with plays, and he's got great nose for the ball. He's one of those guys that makes plays within the play. A lot of guys will just make one effort at it or one play. He makes plays within the play, and So it's really all him. He's a competitor.
Vast majority of the season, Blake's prominently been in drop coverage. Last couple of weeks, probably since Syracuse game, they've been a little more aggressive, edging, blitzing. And it felt like in the second half tonight, things really swung when you got to those empty corner looks. Is that something you had to feel coming into tonight that could, if the game gets tight, something you can go to? Or is that more just once you saw how things were going, you decided to pivot to it during the game?
Excuse me. Well, you hit on the head. They played not just drop, but they played a deep drop early in the year. And recently they've been blitzing ball screens. And, for us, we went over it, thought we were prepared for it. The thing that you can't simulate, they have great size. Reed, Carr, their wings. And so some of the plays we thought could be open probably weren't open in that first half because of their size and activity. And I thought they sped us up a little bit. We didn't handle it well. And then the second half, I just thought we had better poise against it. And our guards did a better job getting out of their hands quick. Our bigs got out quicker. And then they went to drop. And then they went back to it at the end. And because Steve's a big-time coach. I mean, they're always one of the toughest teams to play. And I think the thing for us is we've already seen so many different ways of defending us. Whether it's chunking the game up and not guarding as many guys, whether it's switching, blitzing, and I thought our guys had great poise. I mean, we had 48 points in the second half, and did a great job with that.
Jon, you had that moment in the second half where you tossed the ball to the refs, and then you really got the crowd involved in the game. Cameron got as loud as I've heard it in a while in that moment. Was there something conscious there? Was it just your own pure emotion? I mean, take me through what you were sort of thinking as you were waving your arms to get everybody up.
I was just emotional. Just emotional. Like I don't think this group. And look, that's on us to prove it. We'll be right there at the end of this thing. I'm just telling you guys. Like I believe in these guys so much, and we've been through a lot in the first 2 years. Like this is my first 2 years. The support of the crowd has been incredible, and this is a key game for us. It was a key moment, and I was fired up because Mark Mitchell made a heck of a play, on the sideline. He had great hands, and again, just like I don't expect our guys to be perfect, officiating is never going to be perfect. That has nothing to do with it. The ball came my way, and I want to shoot it at first, but I knew I couldn't do that, and it was just how I felt in that moment. And Cameron, they're great. They always respond to you. The fans, the students, they always respond, and that to me is what makes this place different and special.
And Jeremy Roach responded with the 3.
Yeah, and that's great when that happens. And I wanted us. I thought we had a lead there in the first half just to get separation, and I think these guys, there's so much noise sometimes, and I just want them to keep believing in themselves. Like keep believing in this group. We have everything you need. Just you need to keep growing. You need to keep learning, and I trust how many times we've seen Jeremy Roach and Kyle Filipowski in a 2-man game, and I knew it was going in when I left his hands.
Coach, speaking of growth, back to McCain, where has he grown from your standpoint that doesn't necessarily show up on a stat sheet, whether it's his patience, poise, where has he grown the most, you feel?
Jared, his defense has just come such a long way too. And for freshmen, that's the hardest adjustment. How to be physical without fouling, how to move as the ball moves, different rotations, different things. It's just different, and it's at a faster speed. And he's embraced all of that. And he's not only is he not that he ever was a liability or anything like that, but he can really guard. Like it's an advantage for us when he's guarding the ball, or he does. Some people call it dirty work. We call it winning plays when you crack in on the weak side to block out a big. Like he does all that stuff, and he's really grown. The other thing, you can coach Jared hard without hurting his confidence, and I think it's a key thing for a lot of young players. Like you can get on them and it can hurt their confidence. With Jared, he can take coaching hard, and he's still going to shoot the next shot the same way. And that's what you want. And it allows him to really grow as a player. and that's a key thing.
Last one, go ahead.
Kyle mentioned that while him and Mark, what they do offensively is different, when they're clicking at the same time, it makes what he does 1,000% easier. Can you just touch on how those two clicking at the same time offensively helps the team? You mentioned 48 points in the second half.
You know, we feel we basically play 5 guards together. You know, even though Flip is 7 feet, he has a game like a guard. You know, he's shot 6 threes tonight. He's handling, he's passing. Mark, the same thing. He's a guard, and usually they have bigs guarding him. And so, you know, you're able to surround them with shooting, and for those guys to be able to make plays downhill, however you can get it to them there, it changes our team. And you know, I said it to our team after last game. Mark needs to touch it more. He needs to touch it more because good things happen when he touches it. And if it translates to scoring 23 points, and then that's great. But it's also going to translate. He can have a game where he has 7 assists or gets to the foul line even more. And those guys are just so smart for their size and their ball handling ability. They're special players, and we got to keep getting them in the right spots. And the two of them going together makes me happy. I know that much. So anyway, I'm proud of those guys.